Okay. Hi. I don't know exactly when I'm going to post this, but essentially, this is going to be for whoever is like having a hard time right now. And I know a lot of us are having a hard time. And so, whether or not you're stressed from like global issues, or if you're stressed from like what's going on in your personal life, I'm here to offer some relief if you want. Now, if it's personal issues that's really got you down, once again, just recognize there's a lot going on in the world. Everybody's kind of going through it to some degree. With the California fires, the TikTok thing, the presidency, like there's a lot going on in general. And I think I've been blessed with the ability of like having perspective and like being able to zoom out. Because obviously I have my own personal issues going on. I have my own shit to, wade through. But I also recognize very well that my problems are very minuscule compared to a lot of people's issues. Like some people don't know where their next meal is gonna be. Some people are like facing homelessness, and I've been there, totally understand that plight. But if I could offer you a piece of reminder, a piece of wisdom in this moment, and just let you know and remind you that everything is temporary. Like, whatever it is that you are facing right now is temporary. For the sole fact that at some point we all die. I know, it sounds morbid, but it's true. At some point we all, and by the time you're on your deathbed, the things that you're worrying about right now will not have mattered whatsoever. Like, I guarantee you that. I don't really love talking about my relationship with God online. But I feel like lately, especially with all that's been going on, I feel like I've gotten closer a little bit. We live in a crazy world. We live in a wonderful, beautiful, crazy world, where some people cannot be reasoned with. Some people just have it in their heads to be violent, to be irrational, to be rude, to be callous, And I don't know, maybe you're one of those people. I don't know. I love you, if that means anything. But if you're not one of those people, assuming that you're not one of those rude, callous, evil people, just know that you don't have to let it get to you. You don't have to let it get to the core of you. You don't have to succumb to the pressures. I feel like a thing that a lot of people do, and I feel very strongly in this moment that some of you are definitely like on the edge of like leaning into something that you really don't want to do because you feel like you have to. And like, you can do whatever you want. Free will is beautiful. But like, one of the things that I've learned, at least in my own experience, that I can say for my life, is that when I'm living out of alignment with what I believe, it definitely causes for disharmony, And I feel like a lot of us, unfortunately, are living out of alignment with our values, And I'm talking to you guys, working your 9 to 5s, working for somebody who doesn't respect you, who doesn't value you, who doesn't appreciate you, Like, if I could ask you a question, if I could pose a question real quick, do you believe, I'm going to take a pit stop over here. Do you believe that you are a child of the universe? Do you believe that you are worthy of good things? Because I believe that. And once again, when we live out of alignment with that truth, it causes for disharmony. We're hanging around people that we know have really fucked up morals. We are working for people who really couldn't care less if we were to keel over and die at the job. They would just see it as a liability, I guess. Once again, we live in a crazy, beautiful world. And I have to like have gratitude. I mean, I don't have to, but I prefer to have gratitude and sit in gratitude even through the tough moments. Because life be lifing, for real. And I don't know, I feel like, from my opinion, the people who have it the hardest, once again, are the ones who like live out of alignment with themselves, who don't really live in their truth. And it sucks because it's not necessarily these people's fault. It's not necessarily your fault if you're living out of alignment. It's really the system's fault, because we're taught from an early age that you have to like fit in, that you have to be a certain way to be liked, to be respected, to be loved. And like, ideally you can believe whatever you want. Once again, free will. But I'm making this video, you're watching this video, I believe that your soul brought you here because things need to change. You need a shift, you know? And sometimes change can be painful. Sometimes change can be very difficult. But just know that you're not alone. There's always somebody that you could reach out to. In theory, you could reach out to me. I would prefer if you joined the Patreon first, but in theory, you could reach out to me. I try to be helpful when I can. And I mentioned the TikTok thing, and I've been thinking about that. A lot of people have been thinking about that. It's been stressing a lot of people out. Personally, I'd like to believe that we live in such a capitalist society that the government wouldn't take away an app that makes so much money, you know, but I don't know, anything could happen. It could go either way. Like, I'm not about to sit here and say, oh, it's not going to happen because it hasn't happened before, because everything changes. Change happens all the time. And that's another thing. I feel like a lot of people are afraid of change, and, you know, understandably, because change can be dangerous. Change can be scary. You don't really know what's on the other side of that change. But when you're able to adapt, when you're able to like update your system with the changes that are going on, you're able to thrive. You're able to survive a lot better. And I say thrive instead of survive, not survive actually. You're able to thrive. You know, because there's a difference between surviving and thriving semantically. You know, surviving is just kind of living, just kind of going day by day, just hoping for the best. Thriving is when you're like literally doing the thing and you're like living your best life possible, you know, and ideally that's what we want, right? And if I could be a little transparent, if I could be a little candid, one of the things that I've been holding for myself is fear. There's fear. Believe it or not. I know I have a very bubbly personality. I have like, you know, I don't really show it very well, but I've been dealing with a lot of fear, specifically around like taking new steps in the direction that I want. And last night I was on live stream on TikTok. I asked some shadow work questions. I got really kind of deep, and I don't know, there's also the message coming through, for me at least. I don't know if this will translate for you, but at least for me, the message from Billy Joel's Vienna. You can't be everything you want before your time. That line is so poignant. That song has been very poignant for me lately, because I'm very ambitious. I am very go-getter. Let's do it. Let's do it, team. But I am so ambitious sometimes that I get in front of myself. I get ahead of myself, so much so that it becomes like a detriment. You know, like I had to force myself to like sit down and like lay down and rest yesterday, because the full moon was yesterday. Also, I don't know when I'm going to post this, but it is the 13th. The full moon is tonight, actually. Tonight, whatever. Time is weird, and because of the full moon, usually when the full moon is around, I get very manic. I get very full of energy, very full of life, you know, and I'm sure some of you can relate for sure. And so I had to force myself to just like rest for a few hours. And maybe some of you really need to do that. I mean, you don't need to do anything, but I think it would benefit you so much if you like allowed yourself the time to really just rest and exist. Because I'm going to speak directly to you now. You're doing quite a lot. Whether we're talking physically, whether we're talking spiritually, you're doing a lot. Like, I called it shadow work, and it really is work. Like energy work, inner work, like it's work. And honestly, I would even go so far as to say that it's even more work than physical work. And that being said, once again, you're doing a lot. And you might be really hard on yourself. You might be like, why can't I do this? Why am I so lazy? Or like, why can't I just do this? And it's like, bro, take a look back. Look back at your past. Look back at the things that you've accomplished. Look back at the things that you've like already overcome. And like, congratulate yourself. Be proud of yourself. Because like, even though there might be a roadblock in front of you, maybe that roadblock is telling you to slow down and to like appreciate how far you've come, because you've gone a long way. Like, I'm sure if you were to look back a year, 5 years in the past, you'd be like, damn, I was a completely different person. So glad I'm not that person anymore. And I can't guarantee you, I mean, I can try to guarantee, but I can't necessarily guarantee you that like all your dreams are going to come true and everything that you want is going to come to fruition after you watch this video. But I will say that if you really take heed to what I'm saying in this video, you will notice a shift. You will notice a difference in your life, you know? And another thing about it, because I have a tendency of like low-key secretly pointing fingers at other people and like recognizing the influence that other people have on me. And I don't think that's necessarily inherently bad, but I do realize where I kind of remove accountability for myself when I do that, because it's like I'm giving other people the power to like affect me. And it's like, no, at the end of the day, you are in charge of your life. You are in charge of your feelings. You are in charge of how you exist and show up. You know, we can always, it's very easy to blame other people and be like, oh, well, you're not doing this, or you should be doing this, or you're doing this, and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, but what about you, beloved? What about you? How are you contributing to that? How are you not showing up for yourself? You know what I mean? Because once again, we live in a crazy world. Crazy, beautiful world, for sure. And it doesn't necessarily get less crazy. We just get better at handling it. We get better at adapting and maintaining and managing, you know? And once again, I don't know all the details of your life. This isn't like a personal reading. I'm not like, I don't know you, obviously, but I do hope this video was helpful. I do hope that this was useful to you in some way. And if it was, you should definitely consider subscribing, liking the video, and all that jazz. Yeah. Comment, let me know how you felt about this, and if I should do more of this. I want to do more of this. I don't really care how people feel about it. I like making this sort of content. So let me know how you feel, though. I like feedback. And try to have a nice rest of your day. Stay hydrated. Eat some veggies.